Hello everyone, I am Abhishek Singh, second year undergraduate in the Department of Aerospace Engineering at IIT Kharagpur. In this video, I am going to discuss about the Kutta condition and how does it set the amount of circulation experienced by an airfoil and how does it translate to the amount of lift generated for the low speed airfoil. We will also explain how flow around a lifting cylinder can be used to analyze flow over an airfoil that is obtained through Kutta-Zukowski transformation. Since earlier we had seen that infinite number of flows can be possible around the cylinder, and these different type of flows are dependent on different values of circulation which we choose. Like basically we divided it in three major categories, like when the value of circulation is less than 4 pi v infinity r, when it is equals to this, and when it is greater than this. We had seen then the value of or the position of the stagnation point is dependent on the value of circulation, as when the value of circulation is less than this value, we had seen that the stagnation point is at 1 and 2 these locations, while when it is equals to the 4 pi v infinity r, we get the stagnation point just at the bottom point, while when it is greater than the 4 pi v infinity r, we see that the stagnation point lie below the cylinder, below the lifting cylinder. So after this, we will continue to the next slide. Yeah. So the first question which come in our mind is, what is Kutta condition? So to understand Kutta condition, we first need to understand how flow behaves around an airfoil. Like so, given this figure on the top, we can see that for the same type of airfoil at same angle of attack, we observe different type of flow depending on the value of circulation. Here, lambda 1 and lambda 2 is denoting the value of circulation. So like, and similarly there are infinite, like for as we choose any another value of lambda, capital lambda, we get a different type of flow around the airfoil. So there are infinitely possibilities of the flow around an airfoil at a given angle of attack. But we know that in the nature there exists a single value of circulation for a given angle of attack in a given condition. So the question coming in our mind is that how nature decides which value is perfect for it, and to get that value, obviously we need some extra condition which fixes the value of circulation around an airfoil at a given angle of attack. As we can see in the images below, like the first image show the starting of the flow when the just the airfoil start moving in the flow, or when the airfoil is just put into the wind tunnel. We see that when the flow comes, and initially like it's just leaving, it's very similar to the what we have seen in the left side of this top figure. Like the flow is just leaving in this way in initial conditions, but eventually uh, when this transient period dies out, and we get this type of flow around an airfoil, as we can see that the flow is just leaving smoothly from the trailing edge at the point 2 in this figure. So this is what we see, that whatever the value of angle of attack around an air of an airfoil, the flow is have to leave that trailing edge from the top and bottom smoothly, and this phenomena is first observed, and the theoretical analysis of this is done by a German mathematician M. Wilhelm Kutta in 1902. Therefore, we call this condition as a Kutta condition. in this next slide, we are going to discuss about what are the conditions on the velocity leaving the trailing edge. We now see that like the distribution of force around any body is basically dependent on the pressure distribution and the shear stress distribution on that body. Like when considering about the lift, like so lift is basically more dependent or more dominated by the pressure distribution about that airfoil, which is as the pressure is acting normal to the surface, which is in the vertical, when the net effect is in vertical direction, coming out to be in the lift direction, and so it has the major contribution in the lift, while the shear forces are net contribution is in the drag direction, which is in the backward direction, and it doesn't basically it doesn't have very much contribution on the lift part, while it has a higher contribution in the drag part. So as the shear stresses act tangential to the surfaces, like basically in the horizontal direction, hence the pressure is a dominant pair in the generation of lift, and shear stress has negligible effect on lift. As we can see that the distribution of the pressure is like this here, and and the direction and the shear stress is like when we see just like at the point B, so we can see that the pressure is acting in the normal to the surface, and the shear stress is acting tangential to the surface. So the net contribution of this all is coming out to be in this direction for shear stresses, basically in the drag direction, and this direction for the pressure distribution, because the here in the top side we have a relatively low pressure, and here we have a higher pressure, so net force is coming out to be in the nearly perpendicular direction, the vertical direction, and we get the lift from this pressure distribution. But uh, we know that like the shear stresses is because of the viscous nature of the fluid. But if I say that in viscid flow we can't imagine lift, that is, if we don't have these frictions and these shear stresses, we can't imagine the lift on that airfoil. So this sounds a bit confusing, but actually in the real life, nature ensures that the flow will leave smoothly at the trailing edge. That is, viscous boundary layer remain attached to the surface. So how this is achieved? So this is achieved by the nature's way of enforcing Kutta condition by means of friction, the friction between the air molecules and the surface of that airfoil. So if there is no boundary layer, there would be no physical mechanism in the real world to achieve Kutta condition, and so we can't imagine of the lift. So we can say that without friction we could not have lift. So now we will discuss about the generation of lift using the cylinders. So the first thing is come to our mind is why we are discussing about these using cylinder and all these things. So basically, in the earlier times during wars and all, so there is very much need of aircrafts so that we can use mode as a means of combat. So, and for making aircraft, there is a very huge requirement of a good knowledge of these airfoils, the lift, and the drag acting on that aircraft. And to study these behaviors of the airfoil, at that time we don't have the CFD simulation like today we are using ANSYS and all these things. So what the scientists at that time had done, like they have developed different analytical approaches and methods to basically so that they can get the value of the lift and the drag acting on the airfoil using these analytical methodologies. And one of them are like 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 this one which we see in this figure here, is that when an airfoil is put in a free stream velocity, free stream, So the free stream just when passes over the airfoil, it just bends in this direction. So basically by by calculating the change in momentum of this free stream, we can say that it apply an reaction force on that airfoil in the vertical direction. So basically in the lift direction, and so like the some there is a resultant force which some component in the lift direction and some component in the drag direction. So this way we can get the value of the lift and drag. Also in this figure we see that there is a pressure distribution around an airfoil as we had seen earlier. So this pressure distribution has an effect in the lift direction, and we similarly for the shear distribution has in the forces in the drag direction. So basically now we will discuss like right now we will focus on the more on the aspects of these Kutta conditions. Is that is that the lift like we can thought of lift as a result of the uh, superimpose of the uniform flow and the pure circulation. So from the basically this equation, the lift is equals to uh, rho infinity v infinity, the free stream velocity, and the circulation times the circulation. So basically we can see that these relations come from the what we call as Kutta-Zukowski theorem. So since we know that this circulation is velocity times the dl, and v infinity is also a velocity term. So the question come in our mind that from these density and the two velocity terms, like the circulation is velocity time dl and it is itself a velocity term, how we are getting the forces from this velocity term. So the answer comes is that the velocity distribution over the airfoil generates the pressure distribution, which in terms give us the direction, which in turn gives us the net forces, basically the direction of lift, the lift forces. So basically uh, from the like any particular value of the circulation, we get that value of lift for that airfoil. And now we will discuss about this transformation. So this is we have seen it many times in our class. That is uh, zeta is equals to z plus b square by z, where b is a constant. And basically we use this transformation to get uh, this type of flow over an airfoil from 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 this generating cylinder. Like consider it as a generating cylinder, and from these points from like from this potential flow, we can get value of, like we can get this transformation. So this transformation is what we call as conformal transformation or Zukowski transformation. So what we have done is that we have put a airfoil at an alpha angle of attack in in the wind tunnel. And what we have done is that uh, basically is actually it is in this way, but we had just rotated it to to like to get it parallel to the horizontal direction. And we can rotate it just to simplify our uh, calculation and observation. So basically it is in uh, this direction, and so we just turn it in this way. So but what we see that like at the stagnation point, here the the flow leaves smoothly, which what we got from the Kutta condition. It is not leaving like the like in this case or in this case or in this case, but it always leaves in this way, like which is satisfying the Kutta condition. So now we will see that like what is this zeta. So like this z come from this coordinate axis system xy. The value of z is x plus iy some, and like in the complex form, and we put it in here, b is the constant. uh, we we get the distribution in this uh, eta and zeta axis, the this type of distribution. So basically this is angle preserving transformation. We call this conformal transformation as angle preserving transformation, and the reason to call it in this way is that, like, if we take any point, say any point A here, and we take just very close to it any point B and C, B and C. So what we say that the angle between AC and AB, and from this ABC we get a corresponding point on this airfoil also. Let's say like the A dash, A dash, and this point is B dash, and this point is C dash. So from this corresponding point, we consider that it is very B and C are very close to A. So we see that the angle between AB and AC is 180 degree, 180 degrees. And also, in case of after this transformation, the angle made here and when B and B dash and C dash are very close to the A dash, we get that the value of angle coming out here to be also 180 degree. So this way we say that the Zukowski transformation is an angle preserving transformation. But when we look at this point, at the point M, or at the stagnation point, or at the capital M point here, we see that we get a different angle here. Like basically, if we say that here it is 180 degree, we are getting here to be this much, which is basically nearly 360 degree. So what is reason for that? We can see that from this equation, this B has a very special role. Like if we put B in this equation, we get the value of this zeta coming out to be twice of B. Like uh, this M point is B distance from the origin, and for the after this transformation, the corresponding point to the small m is the capital M, which is at 2b distance from the origin. And similarly, same thing happened with the angle, and the angle is also like here we are getting 180 degree, and so here we are getting twice of 180 degree, that is 360 degree. So this is what happened with the angle. So except this giving this point basically is angle uh, angle preserving transformation. So it is basically a locally angle preserving transformation. Like we have to see very close to these points and the corresponding points in the airfoil, and when we measure the angle, we are found it to be equal at a for the flow of over the airfoil at a given angle, alpha angle of attack. So we will now discuss that, like our goal is to find out the correct amount of circulation to get the to get the value of lift. So first what we have to do, like first we create a circle depending upon the angle of attack and the shape and the camber of this airfoil. We the and like the as a regular center of how far should be the center, how close should be the center to the origin, and what should be this distance. So from all these factor we draw the circle, and by this transformation we get the flow around the airfoil, and from this flow we get a value of circulation, and hence we get the value of lift. So this is what we get from this Viscosity transformation. And here like we can see that the complex potential is phi 5 plus I times xi, where phi. So in this equation uh, phi is velocity potential and xi is the stream function. So we write this as a phi plus I times psi as a complex potential, and when we uh, derivate f with respect to z, like the z, we get the complex velocities, that is u minus iv, which can also be written in this form. Basically both are same, just different notations. So next we will discuss about how how uh, how we make this transformation, like how we understand this flow around that airfoil. So we have the value, like we have this cylinder, and there is like at a particular angle of attack the free stream velocity is in this direction, coming out to be in this direction, v infinity, and which is at alpha angle of attack, and when it's pass over the cylinder is go this way, where the this is point is the stagnation point, small m. So just for better understanding, what we do, we just rotate it in a clockwise direction to alpha angle. Say like if it is 30 degrees, so we rotate it in this way, alpha angle, to make it parallel to the horizontal axis, so that for better visualization. And we can see that we can write this flow as the sum of the circulation plus the non-lifting flow over a cylinder. Basically, if we take any cylinder and we put it in the wind tunnel, or we put in any flow, so we say that the flow around that simple cylinder is non-lifting flow. It just go this way. But when we apply some circulation around it, so basically it turn out to be lifting flow, and this is the value of circulation, which this is that particular value of circulation from which we get the value of lift, which we use in that Kutta-Zukowski uh, theorem, that the value we get lift is equals to rho infinity time v infinity times circulation. Okay, so that's all we have discussed about uh, basically the Kutta condition, and how the flow has to leave the tailing edge, like for different type of tailing edge, how flow behaves, and like what is the value of velocities, and that's all in this video. uh, Thank you so much.